What's up guys? So you clicked on this video because you think your transitions are not smooth at all. Maybe they look like you made them on iMovie, or maybe they even look like you made them on PowerPoint. Well, it's good that you're here, because today I'm going to help you. Alright, so there's usually 3 things that you need to know about transitions. The first thing is that you want to get clips that follow up on each other. So for example, these 2 clips, as you can see, it zooms out, and then it zooms out again. So this will look very good if we eventually make our transition on here. The second thing is that your pan crop needs to be good. So what I see a lot is, for example, that people pan their clip to the right, and then eventually here they'll pan it to the left randomly, and that won't look good at all. For example, here when you have the character in the center and you go to the next clip, it also stays in the center, so that's also panning, and you want to make sure that you keep this in mind when you make your transitions. And then the last thing is your graph that isn't optimized. Usually you just do like fast, slow, fast velocity, and you don't really think about it probably. So definitely keep watching if you want me to reveal tricks to improve your graphs. Alright, so let's go over the first thing in depth. So for example, now we have these clips, and I already told you that these follow up really well. So we'll just get another clip like this one, for example, and as you can see, it won't follow up as good as the other one. So if you play it through, it just randomly snaps to the next clip. And of course you can fix this with pan crop and with a lot of effects, but it's always good, definitely if you're a beginner, to already select a clip that fits well. So this one doesn't really look good, and I wouldn't choose this one. So the one below looks way better because they both have some motion and the main characters stay in the center. So that's also a really good thing. Then the next thing is pan crop, and I'll quickly show it to you. You can press S when you select your first clip, and then make a keyframe here. And then for example, you can make it 200, and then go to somewhere around here, make it 100. And now let's make it zoom in again. So what I like to do is go to this timecode here, so not this one, because then the last frame won't be visible. So let's set it to 200 again, or maybe even bigger. And now you can select them all, press F9, and then go into the graph editor. Now you can select one keyframe here, and then you can grab this handle here and just drag it down. And then you can hold shift and drag this handle to the left. So now it's very steep, so that means it's going to zoom out very fast, and then eventually it'll go slower and slower. As you can see, it's not very visible in this clip because there's a lot of motion, but if you go to here, we can make it zoom in, for example. Now you'll see it way better, like that. So that looks pretty good. We can even make it steeper. And then again, we did it on this timecode because if we did it on here, then it would cut out a lot of our cropping. So just put it here, and then you can see it has a lot more impact. Alright, and then we can go to the next clip. And this is the really important step. So you also press S and then make a keyframe. And then the thing is, when you zoom in on this clip, you want to zoom out on the other one, because then it will flow in each other, and that's way better. So what you could do is keep it at 100, or you could add CC repeat tile or motion tile, whatever you like. Just expand the edges a little. Alright, and then if you use CC repeat tile, you need to put it on unfold. And now if you zoom it out, it will have these extra edges. So we can go even smaller, and then you zoom in again. So 120 maybe. And then again, before the last timecode, we'll make it smaller again. Okay, then you select them all, you press F9, go into the graph editor, and then you can make something like this. Alright, so just keep in mind, the steeper you go, the faster it's gonna go, and the more impact there is gonna be. So you want to make it zoom in really fast. Now what you could also do to make it smoother is hold Alt, grab one of these handles, and then you can make it go upwards. So that means that there will be always some motion. As you can see, it won't be completely flat, and that will look way better. So if you just do this, it will keep zooming in, and I kind of like that look. Alright, then you can also change the position. So if you press P, you can add a keyframe, for example, and then here you can show more of this worm kind of thing. I don't know what it is. And then you can go to your last timecode, and then right click on your position and click reset. Alright, select them all, press F9, and then here, because we're changing the position, you want to go to the speed graph and not the value graph. And that's just because certain effects don't allow you to use the value graph. I don't really question it, but yeah, just if you see this kind of thing and you can't change any handles, try to right click and go to the speed graph, and then you'll probably be able to change some things up. If you wanted to go fast, slow, fast, grab this handle here and then drag it to the left, and this one as well, and then these two handles, drag them to the right. Alright, so now you can see it goes up, and then it goes down again. Alright, that was the pan cropping part, and now the most important one is your velocity, and I'll show you some tricks along the way. So what I'll do really quick is just pre-compose them, so it makes it easier. Alright, and now we're going to add time remap. So just hold Ctrl, Alt, and then T, and now you can just go in the middle, or somewhere you want the slow part to be. So some people just put it in the middle immediately, but you can also just look and scroll through what part you want to be slowed down. So for example, this one. So it's not entirely in the middle, but that doesn't matter. So you select them all and then press F9. Then you go into the graph editor, and don't forget to put it to value graph now, because we changed it to speed graph. So you select this one, and then most YouTubers will just say like, yeah, do this, and then this, and then they'll explain some stuff like, yeah, it goes fast, slow, fast. But I want you to really understand this graph. So what you're doing here, for example, is cutting off a lot of frames, especially when you edit on a low frame rate. If you make this too steep, then you'll basically just cut like 10 frames at a time, and that's not good. So now it doesn't look as great. So two things to fix this. The first one is to just make it less steep, so like this. And now, as you can see, it looks better. Or you could also drag this one down, hold shift, and then you can just bring it really close, and that also works. So I sometimes use this, and then you can be sure that you won't miss a lot of frames in the beginning. As you can see, we still keep all of these frames, and now this one doesn't look too great, so I kind of liked it like this before, but both ways can work. So like that, and then you can drag this one here up or down to go further in time or less further in time. So you can change that as well. For example, I want it more here. Alright, and then the last one doesn't really matter because there's not a lot of motion. So we could just do this and it would basically be the same as this. So this one doesn't really matter. So yeah, the most important thing is to have this keyframe in the middle, because some people just leave it out and then they end up with something like this, and they don't have much control over their graphs. So I highly recommend putting a keyframe in the middle, because that's very useful. You could make things more steeper and less steeper like this, and it just helps a lot. Alright, then going to the next clip, we'll do the same thing. So Ctrl Alt plus T, and cut this really quick. Alright, then for example, you want it to be slower here. So we'll make a keyframe here. Then select them all, press F9, go into the graph, and then what we created now is a graph that doesn't look great most of the time, because this dot here is very close to the beginning. So sometimes this can look good, but you gotta see it for yourself. But I'll just show you that it will not look that great. By the way, if you're moving these two handles in the middle, you'll see that they're not connected. So what you want to do is hold Alt, and then you can release it once you've clicked once, and then they're linked. So as you can see, there's not a lot of impact in the beginning. So what you can do is drag this one more to the right. If you drag this one purely to the right, it won't change the time code. So this will be the exact same frame as it was here. And it's only when you drag it up or down that the frame of your clip will change. So we can bring it to the right. I'll actually drag it up a little. I didn't Twixtor this clip, by the way, so it's not as smooth, but you'll get the concept. So now it has a lot of impact, goes really fast, and then the worm comes. I don't know, I still don't know what it is, and then it goes really fast as well, so that looks really good. And feel free to experiment with these graphs. Don't only stick to this one. You can also bring this one up, for example, and that will basically make sure that there's a lot of frames at the end as well. So if you have a lot of impact in your clip already, this could be a great idea to leave it in and not just cut them all out and then the impact will be gone. So if we bring this one up, it will actually look better. Okay, so this is what we got. So yeah, to recap, most of the things really depend on your clip choice. If your clip choice isn't good, for most beginners, your transition is gonna look bad. And obviously the pro editors can fix all that stuff up with some effects and with amazing pan crop. But if you're a beginner, I would highly recommend just choosing your clips right, as I told you in the beginning. So definitely use those tips and tricks I gave you. And then just make sure your pan crop is also good. So just make sure that everything flows together. So you don't want some random pan crop to go all over the place. Just make sure that it all follows up on each other and you'll be fine. Alright, hopefully you've learned a lot. And if you did, make sure to subscribe. and also make sure to click the first link down in the description below if you need any more help with After Effects editing. Alright, bye bye.